Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 235 spoilers are here, and Gege just is making banger after banger of a chapter. I honestly believe that each new chapter is the best chapter of the entire fight, but chapter 235 could be the greatest in the entire series. Obviously thank you to Mahoraga for these chapter leaks. So last chapter we left off with Gojo destroying Agito with blue as well as losing his left hand, and then we kind of got this flash forward which mentioned Gojo's purple. But it finally makes sense what the narrator meant when he said that Gojo's purple would engrave itself in Shinjuku 41 seconds after this blue attack which took out Agito. Essentially in chapter 234 that was a flash forward scene for the aftermath of the battlefield after Gojo's hollow purple attack, and chapter 235 is being used to explain how these events occurred. So straight away we see that Agito has been fully destroyed by that blue orb, which I thought had already happened, but it's clear that it was only halfway through the process of being crushed. The narrator explains that the reason Gojo has seemed to gain this new wave of power was because of the two prior black flashes which he carried out. As we all know, a black flash brings out 120% of a user's maximum potential, and subsequently Gojo is operating at 120% of his full power. It is also stated that Ryman Sukuna, the king of curses, is finally nervous for the first time in thousands of years. Now that is a crazy thought, but we did already know that Sukuna was completely unrivaled throughout his era, and hence why he had such a cocky or stuck up attitude going into this fight. But there is still a problem that Gojo lost part of his left arm to Sukuna, but due to him operating at 120% of his current full power, having that reduced reverse curse energy output isn't affecting him as much as it would Sukuna. Therefore, Gojo is easily able to heal up that left arm and continue beating the crap out of Sukuna. Gojo then lands another black flash on Mahoraga, which sends him flying towards the building. And the reasons people like Gojo, Nanami and Yuji are able to complete so many black flashes in a row is because when a user carries out a black flash, it puts them into the zone in which is much easier to perform another one. Each black flash further puts them into the zone, meaning that each one will come easier and easier the more you do consecutively. But after landing this black flash, Gojo appears behind Sukuna, who reacts. However, Sukuna didn't manage to land his punch on Gojo, who throws him towards Mahoraga. Gojo then tries to land a black flash on Sukuna instead, but Big Daddy Mahoraga decides to come in and block this attack once again, which isn't completely effective and ends up sending Mahoraga flying through the building. Sukuna is looking hella nervous throughout this fight, hence that narrator comment that Sukuna is feeling a sense of doubt in his own abilities. And this is very interesting to see, but I know the memes are going to be absolutely nuts against Sukuna. We even got a panel of Mahoraga wrapping his arms around Sukuna whilst it looks like Sukuna is sitting on his lap in order to protect him. The video I did on Sukuna not being a fraud is literally aging like spoiled milk, but I still stand by most of my comments, just more and more people are about to flame me over that video. But just a quick reminder, if you guys are enjoying thus far, then make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're enjoying my content at the moment, as we are trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of September, and if all of you subscribe, we will definitely be able to make it. And also thanks to everyone who's already done so. But let's get back into this chapter. So something interesting about all of these panels is Gojo has already managed to land 4 black flashes, which ties Nanami and Yuji's record, but he never has done any more than that. So my thoughts are perhaps there is a limit to the number of black flashes a user can complete in a certain amount of time. And maybe Yuji or Gojo will be the first people to exceed this limit, and it could lead to some broken results or a nutty power up. But this is obviously just a thought, and we'll definitely see if this is valid in the coming chapters. Anyways, jumping back into this fight, Gojo begins to do the chant for his next attack. Sukuna believes that this attack is going to be curse technique reversal red, and to counter this he screams for Mahoraga to go and tank the red attack whilst adapting to it. The reason that he wants Mahoraga to adapt to this is if Gojo was to unleash another one, then Mahoraga would already have adapted, meaning that it would do nothing. And Sukuna is just once again looking so helpless here, it's just unbelievable. Like I said, the memes are about to go crazy, you gotta feel bad for his character at this point. However, Gojo sends this attack upwards, and since Sukuna was bracing for it to be targeted at him, he suspects that Gojo has another plan for this attack. Previously, when Sukuna let his guard down, he got hit by red and was on the brink of death. So Sukuna is being hyper cautious about any weird attacks from Gojo, as he doesn't want to get caught off guard by one of these attacks again. Hence, Sukuna urges Mahoraga to get rid of this attack as fast as possible, as he doesn't know how quickly Gojo's plan will come into fruition. Sukuna then senses what Gojo's plan could be. There is a blue orb which was used to destroy Agito, which still remains on the battlefield. It's still up in the sky, and being so this is a maximum output attack, it is extremely potent. Sukuna knows this, and knows that when these two combine, combine, it will create a hollow purple. So he tells Mahoraga to make sure that this red attack doesn't get close to that blue orb. Sukuna says that instead of dealing with red, that Mahoraga should destroy blue, since he's already adapted to blue earlier in the fight when he was hiding in the shadows. So while Mahoraga is travelling towards blue to try and destroy it, Gojo chases after him to stop him from interfering. Gojo manages to get there in time and punches Mahoraga into the ground, since he can't do anything from ground level as all of these orbs are in the air. Sukuna then tries a last ditch attempt to destroy red by stimulating this red orb, and he shoots his piercing water attack, which comes from the elephant Shikigami. Now there is a slight discrepancy on the next part, but essentially Maimura stated that Sukuna was aiming for blue, however it seemed as though Sukuna was actually aiming for red. So I will take the stance that he was aiming for red, but it doesn't really matter either way you look at it. Gojo, after Sukuna let off this attack, punches Sukuna into the ground similar to what he did to Mahoraga, and Sukuna, being the cocky little man he is, stated that Gojo was too late. But it seems as though he never learns, because every time he does something like this, he just jinxes the scenario. And Gojo then enhances the red orb for like a split second by doing this chant again, and it manages to absorb or deflect Sukuna's attack, meaning that its trajectory is still going towards blue. Gojo then does another chant to initiate hollow purple. This is because the blue and red are getting very close to touching, and it seems as though Gojo needs to do his chant for this to actually initiate. But back at the Jujutsu High student space, Yuta has come to the realization that if he had gone to interfere with this battle, then Gojo simply wouldn't be able to get off an attack like hollow purple due to it potentially killing his students, which would obviously deter him from unleashing such an attack. But this could also be set up for like the weaker sorcerers trying to get involved later down the line, but also remaining useful rather than a hindrance, but I'm not entirely sure yet. It could lead to some character progression where they go from being hindrances to being the most useful part in the plan. But Gojo finally finishes his chant whilst the blue and red simultaneously combine to finally make this hollow technique purple. So I think the reference to Gojo's last ditch attack was definitely talking about this case scenario, and I'll explain why in a second. But this purple attack is huge and unlike any other we have seen thus far, probably why he's calling it ultimate hollow purple rather than just hollow purple. Everything within the radius is destroyed, even including Mahoraga's wheel. But the entire area of this battle in Shinjuku is in ruins, and Sukuna especially is left basically on the brink of death. He's also missing his left hand once again from a purple attack. But Gojo was also hit by this attack, and that is why I think that he said that he might have to use hollow purple, knowing that there would be some drawbacks from using this, and why he hadn't used it earlier in the fight. It seems as though since this attack is made from his own cursed energy, it doesn't affect him anywhere near as much as it would Sukuna. Kusakabe states that Sukuna has lost Mahoraga, and due to the huge amount of damage he has sustained, he wouldn't be able to use domain amplification to negate most of Gojo's cursed energy attacks. And the main cast state that since Sukuna has lost Mahoraga, can't heal effectively, and can't use domain amplification to hit Gojo, that Sukuna has lost this battle. But it's important to note that Sukuna is not dead, and we do see a few panels of him, and the fact that this was Yuji and the Jujutsu High students saying that Gojo had won makes me think that this is not actually the case. If it was a narrator comment, then yes, I would believe it, but the fact that it's coming from them makes me slightly skeptical that Gojo has won this battle. And I still think that Sukuna will actually win by finally pulling out the ace up his sleeve, which is his hidden curse technique, or maybe even Yorozu's gift. But that is a discussion for another video as to what will happen in the coming chapters. However, that is all for these leaks, and there is a 1 week break, meaning that I'll be uploading a few theory videos in the gap between chapters, so stay tuned for them. If you did enjoy, then make sure to smash that like button and comment your thoughts on these spoilers. Also, please consider subscribing as we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month, and with all of your guys' support, we should be able to make it there. Anyways, that is all for this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.